Welcome to Fresh Talk News Channel. Today, we delve into the latest news update. On April 14, 1823, William Carr Lane, a medical doctor from Pennsylvania, was elected as St. Louis' first mayor. At the time, the city had a population of around 4,000 people, and the mayor's annual salary was just $300. One of the first ordinances passed under his administration was a ban on the discharge of firearms within city limits. Gun violence remains a major issue in St. Louis to this day. But aside from that, almost everything else has changed. Over the years, the city grew into one of the largest and most prosperous in America. However, starting in the mid-20th century, it began a steep population decline. While Mayor Lane may never have imagined his small town growing to nearly 300,000 residents, that number today reflects a dramatic loss. Nearly two-thirds of its population has vanished since the 1950s, due to decades of failed leadership. Still, one thing hasn't changed: the responsibility for success or failure in St. Louis ultimately lies with its voters. On Tuesday, they will head to the polls to elect a new mayor, for roughly the 80th time in the city's history. Earlier in its history, mayoral terms were shorter than 4 years. Casting a vote is one of the most important duties of citizenship. Yet, if recent trends continue, fewer than 1 in 3 eligible voters in St. Louis will actually participate in this election. Tuesday's ballot includes a rematch between incumbent Mayor Tishora Jones and Alderwoman Cara Spencer. We have endorsed Spencer, believing that her back-to-basics approach to governance is what St. Louis needs right now, in contrast to Mayor Jones' emphasis on addressing poverty and inequality. Of course, reasonable people can disagree on which candidate is best. But there is nothing reasonable about not voting at all, especially if you plan to keep engaging in one of the most American of traditions, complaining about political leadership. Also on the ballot Tuesday is the race for city comptroller, the chief fiscal officer. We support challenger Donna Beringer over incumbent Darlene Green, who has held the position for nearly 30 years. We believe it's time for new ideas and a more active approach to the office. Again, people may disagree with that recommendation, but choosing not to vote is always a losing strategy. The only other citywide contest is for the St. Louis School Board, where 12 candidates are competing for 3 available seats. While the editorial board has not made any official endorsements in this race, we've consistently called out the board for serious mismanagement of district funds and personnel. Much of that mismanagement has been tied to cronyism under former Superintendent Keisha Scarlett. Board President Antoinette "Tony" Cousins has arguably been the most prominent face of that mismanagement. She is the only incumbent running for re-election to the board. Depending on where you live in the city, you may also have aldermanic races to vote on. Whoever you choose, just make sure you choose. Thanks for watching Fresh Talk News Channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more news and updates.